Hi guys! Have you ever noticed that one little thing Jungkook can't seem to hide even under the spotlight of thousands of cameras and the gaze of millions of eyes? Amidst the glitz and glamour of the stage and the resounding cheers, there's something that always escapes his control: the way he looks at Taehyung. At first glance, it might seem ordinary, but if you look closer, there's a subtle shift taking place. The piercing gaze that's been known as the golden macane's trademark slowly softens, seemingly melting away without resistance whenever Taehyung is within his reach. This isn't just a casual interaction between bandmates. There's a quieter, deeper language, one that speaks without sound, and that's precisely what makes it so real. It all starts with a look. Not just a look, but a look that feels almost personal. In many moments, whether during casual interviews or when they're standing on stage waiting for their turn, Jungkook often doesn't direct his gaze to the camera or the audience. Instead, his eyes are fixed on one point: Taehyung. The look isn't just lingering, it's also full of meaning. The corners of his eyes soften, his expression turns warm, and a small smile appears unnoticed. It was as if, in a world so crowded, his focus was solely on one person. And most interestingly, it all happened naturally, without any pretense, without conscious effort, like a reflex of feelings too deep to hide. This change didn't stop at a mere glance. It flowed into a physical closeness that felt so natural. Between them, the concept of personal space seemed to lose its meaning. Jungkook was often seen automatically approaching, matching his steps, even leaning lightly toward Taehyung without hesitation. There were small moments that might go unnoticed by some, like smoothing his hair, adjusting his collar, or simply gently touching him, but that's where the true meaning lay. For someone known for being strong, energetic, and charismatic on stage, Jungkook's transformation into a calmer, gentler person around Taehyung felt stark, yet so genuine. More deeply, this connection was evident in the way Jungkook responded to Taehyung's emotions. When Taehyung was under pressure or looked tired, Jungkook didn't always have to say anything. His mere presence was enough to provide a solid support, silent, yet meaningful. He stands by Taehyung's side like an invisible protector, providing a sense of security without needing to be announced. Conversely, when Taehyung shows his carefree, cheerful side, Jungkook is almost always the first to laugh, responding with equal, if not greater, energy. It's as if Taehyung's emotions have a direct line to his own. What's even more interesting is a psychological phenomenon evident in their interactions: mirroring, or the habit of unconsciously copying. Jungkook is often seen imitating Taehyung's gestures, expressions, and even his unique style, sometimes within seconds. This is no coincidence. In psychology, this often occurs when someone has a deep emotional attraction or admiration for another person. Taehyung, with his artistic and unpredictable personality, seems to be a constant source of inspiration for Jungkook, and without realizing it, Jungkook reflects it all in his own movements. This dynamic reaches its peak when they're on stage, especially at large emotional concerts. Amidst the grand scale and incredible energy, the small moments between them become even more visible. Jungkook often crossed the stage, not because of choreography, but as if drawn by something invisible toward Taehyung. In the crowded and frenetic atmosphere, when Taehyung sought a handhold, Jungkook was always there to hold it. The hold wasn't just a touch, but a silent promise, a reassurance that amidst the crowd and pressure, they would still find each other's home. But the story isn't truly over, because the deeper we look, the more subtle details begin to emerge. There are fleeting moments that the camera almost misses, but it's precisely in them that the purest honesty emerges. Like when the crowd is at its peak, the sound of thunder filling the stadium, and all the members are busy with their roles. Jungkook glances at Taehyung with an expression that's hard to describe. It's not just a matter of confirming his presence, but rather a way of making sure everything is okay. That glance feels like a secret language only they understand. On the other hand, Taehyung also seems to have a unique way of responding to Jungkook's presence. Without needing to call out or make any explicit gestures, he often moves closer, as if knowing Jungkook will always be there. These movements seem so natural, like two individuals who have grown accustomed to sharing space without needing to explain anything. Even in stressful situations, they still find a way to return to each other, creating a kind of emotional balance that's difficult to explain with simple logic. When the camera captures moments backstage, this dynamic becomes even more palpable. There's no choreography, no direction, just a spontaneous, flowing interaction. Jungkook often looks more relaxed, more open, as if letting go of the burdens he's been carrying throughout his performance. In these settings, Taehyung's presence seems like a neutral point, a place where Jungkook can return to being himself without the pressure of perfection. Interestingly, this connection is also reflected in the way they communicate without words. There are many situations where they don't speak at all, yet they still understand each other. A small nod, a faint smile, or even just eye contact is enough to convey a deeper meaning. This isn't something that can be built quickly, but this is the result of a long time together, of shared experiences, and of a trust that continues to grow relentlessly. The more we observe, the more it becomes apparent that Jungkook tends to always be within the same radius as Taehyung. It's not by chance, but rather a natural, inexplicable compulsion. Even in large crowds, he seems to have an internal compass that always points to the same point. This creates a repetitive pattern, but it never feels boring. In fact, it reinforces the sense that there's something deeper going on. On several occasions, when the atmosphere becomes more relaxed and filled with laughter, their interactions take on a lighter yet meaningful tone. Jungkook often shows his mischievous side, trying to tease or provoke a reaction from Taehyung. And interestingly, Taehyung almost always responds in a unique way, creating a dynamic that feels lively and colorful. Moments like these demonstrate that their relationship is not only deep but also enjoyable. There are also moments when silence takes center stage. When everyone is talking, moving, and laughing, the two of them can find themselves in a moment of calm that's unique to them. There were no words, no grand gestures, just a mutual presence. In a world so noisy, moments like these feel rare, and that's precisely what makes them so precious. On closer inspection, Jungkook's distance from others also provides a stark contrast. It can appear professional, focused, and full of energy when interacting with the other members or with the audience. But when he's around Taehyung, there's an almost instant change. His movements become softer, his expression warmer, and his demeanor more relaxed. These changes aren't contrived, but rather emerge naturally. Beneath it all, there's also a strong element of trust. Taehyung doesn't seem hesitant to show his most honest side to Jungkook, be it happiness, exhaustion, or even vulnerability. And Jungkook, in his own way, always responds with a steady presence. He doesn't always need to act grandiosely, sometimes simply being there is the most meaningful form of support.